Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Donjo number 81-CWS. This is a satin stainless steel door reinforcer. This piece of hardware has been on the market since the 1960s. Not by Donjo necessarily, but it has been around for many decades at this point. And a door reinforcer is a piece of equipment that's used to simply, in most instances, mitigate a problem. Help put a door back together where it has become irreparably damaged. Maybe kicked in, split, or maybe significant vandalism or damage at a break-in has occurred around the lock area or on the stile. Very occasionally, someone will order these with new doors and frames because they know that they're going to have vandalism, damage, attempts at break-in, so they want the material there right off the bat. Or they could also be doing a new installation and want to match the other doors. Okay, this would be specifically for non-fire rated doors. There are no there are no listed or labeled door reinforcers that we are aware of. So be mindful that a proper installation would mean this would be installed in a non-fire rated door. The 81 in the part number is representative of the dimensional properties of the item, and let's take a closer look at it. Overall height, about 4.5 inch, and overall width is at 4.25. It's just heavy on that because they're really kind of measuring from the inside to where the door is going to come into play. The 81 means the width and the height. It also means the backside of the hole that's drilled, which is considered 2 3/4 and 1 1/8 diameter. Okay. Single hole. This would be appropriate for a single lock. They do make single hole versions that are about 9 inch tall with the hole centered. They do make double hole versions as well for locks and deadbolts. The CW in the part number means that this area for the latch bolt is recessed, where the rectangular faceplate is meant to fit flush to the edge of the door. And here are insert nuts, and they are going to include a couple of 832 flat undercut head machine screws so that you can physically attach your bolt, your latch bolt, to the plate, and then the entire plate goes onto the door because the edge of the door could be so significantly damaged, and it probably is, that there's literally nothing to attach the latch bolt to. So you attach the hardware to the reinforcer. Installing this is fairly straightforward conceptually, but in practice they really require a bit more work in some instances to install because you've got material here that's probably about 35 thousandths thick, and that's a 32nd of an inch nominally. Once you get the item installed onto the door, it's sure going to require a lot more room than, 30 thousandths of an inch. Let's put the or 40 thousandths. Let's put the caliper on this and determine the thickness of the material. The caliper is telling me 0.032, so that is a 32nd of an inch. However, you're not going to just use up a 32nd of an inch getting this installed. The point of the matter is, and by the way, the S in the part number means satin stainless steel finish, and this white film is just the peel away protective film covering the solid stainless with a brushed finish. Okay, so installing this is really best done when you get the hardware installed and then you dry fit the unit onto the door, and you might have to make accommodations. You might have to chisel the door to get this pushed down flush. You might have to plane the door down ever so slightly, or you might just chisel where the plate is to get the plate down onto the door, or you might have a really generous gap between the strike jamb and the door where this fits on just fine without any sort of work. How you get this fit on is really where the job can become quite quick and painless to something that just simply requires more time because you need to fit the item so that the door still operates correctly. And of course, again, non-fire rated doors, we're not permitted to install these onto fire rated doors and maintain the rating of the fire door. Thickness, again, in the 81 part number, this is for an 1 3/4 thick door, and that is part and parcel of the part number. Now, when I install these, I do everything that I had mentioned earlier, dry fit it, get it onto the door, and ensure door operation. And once I've got it fit without screwing it, I'll then take those screws, and there are 4 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll pre-drill my hole ever so slightly on an angle so that I can draw the item back. Meaning suck the plate up to the door. There are even times when I've put a pony clamp onto the edge of the door and really got this fixed nice and tight onto the door, meaning it's not going to move. I don't want it to belly out at all. I want it to be as flush as possible. And there's even times I've mortised for the edge so that the door literally stopped and this was mortised flush to the edge of the door to get it nice and compact. Sometimes you do also have to ovalize that 2 1/8 hole to get everything to fit down easily. You might have a 2 3/8 original preparation in your door, and the new lock you're putting on is 2 3/4, but you've got some damage, so you're going to ovalize that hole, that 2 3/8 hole. You know, the 2 3/8 hole is going to be over here, right? Well, you're going to ovalize it out here to get the 2 3/4 back set, edge of the door to the center of the hole, plate onto the door. There's a link below this video to a document called Template, and that template will not only give you the dimensional drawing, a dimensional representation of the item, but also tell you that it's available in different finishes. PB for polished brass, AB for antique brass, and BZ for bronze. Those 3 are going to be on a solid brass base material. The 10B, they call it 10B, which means oil rub bronze. It's not. It's powder-coated dark brown over a stainless base material. So be mindful when Danjo says or uses the term oil rubbed or 10B, it's not true oil rub bronze. It's a powder coat. That might be perfect for you because that's the color you want. Or it might be, you might receive it and be aghast as to find out that they're calling it oil rubbed when it's not. It's not. It's powder-coated over... when you powder coat, you generally use the least expensive base material. In that case, it would certainly be stainless. So you would have a powder coat dark brown paint over a stainless base material. And then, of course, S for stainless steel, and that is a satin finish. There's information down below, extended information that we've covered in depth. Be mindful that the manufacturer provides these door reinforcers in almost every possible configuration in terms of height and width, diameter of hole, location of hole, door thickness. And they do have a standard catalog, and there is a link below this video to the product brochure where you can review all of that. And they can also manufacture custom items. I do, however, find that those are generally quite costly. Like if you had a custom door thickness, I've quoted reinforcers for 2.5 inch thick doors. Those are going to be noticeably expensive, so do be mindful of that. Finally, there's a link below this video to the manufacturer's page where you can pull up not only all of the Danjo products that we sell, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the full product catalog. Any questions on the Danjo number 81-CW-S or SCW? They can also do this in a VF, which would be a flat front, where the bolt would be attached to the door and your plate would go over the bolt and only the latch would project from the edge of the door. You would change the CW to a VF in that regard. Any questions on this or any other Danjo product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you.